Hello, good morning. Welcome to our show, Health Matters. I'm Shweta Ranjan. We all know that the number of coronavirus cases in India has already crossed 6 lakhs mark, and the spike is seen on a daily basis. What are the preventions, precautions we can take to keep this disease at bay? The situation worsens if a person who has underlying cardiovascular disease catches the infection. It is believed that people with underlying cardiovascular disease actually have a higher mortality rate when it comes to COVID 19. So, to talk on this issue, we have with us Dr. Manish Bansal, Director Clinical and Preventive Cardiology, Vedanta Heart Institute. Let me welcome him to the show. Dr. Bansal, good morning and welcome to National Cover.
Good morning, Shweta. Thank you so much for inviting me to this live session. It will be a pleasure and a very nice experience for me to interact with your viewers and share with them some insights about cardiovascular disease and COVID-19. As you already mentioned, COVID-19 has become a big problem, especially for those who already have heart disease.
Yes. So, viewers, if you have any questions, any queries, any suggestion you want to take, please write down all your queries. We'll be involving those during the talk, during the session. So, before we have the viewers coming in, let us start talking on this, Dr. Bansal. It is believed that they have higher mortality rate, people who have underlying cardiovascular disease. So, what is the situation and
Correct.
how
Yeah.
far this is true?
See, this is absolutely true that patients who have pre-existing heart disease, they have the highest mortality. In fact, those who have heart disease, they are at higher risk of contracting the infection also in the first place. There are basically two groups which are at higher risk of having infection, those who have cardiovascular disease and diabetes. And of these two, patients who have cardiovascular disease, when they develop disease, they have more severe infection and higher risk of adverse events. In fact, in some studies, it's been shown that in patients who have got significant cardiac disease, mortality may go up to 40% of the total, which is quite substantial. So definitely those with cardiovascular disease are at higher risk of having the infection and at greater risk of dying of it also.
Right. So we have one viewer joining us, Mr. Om Ranjan Prasad Singh. He writes, "Good morning, sir. Nice to see you." And please write down
Yeah,
your
thank you.
so that we involve your question. So let us move ahead. You said that the risk increases if because it becomes a comorbid condition. A patient with
Yeah.
diabetes, patient with heart diseases, patient with hypertension, it leads to a severe form of COVID-19. So, what are the preventions and precautions, especially when it comes to elderly? Because heart diseases are also primarily detected at an at older age. So,
Older. Correct.
yes. So, especially for them, what are the preventions and precautions that one needs to?
See, there are two important points that we need to remember. One is related to COVID infection, that everyone should take every precaution to avoid getting exposed to this infection. So we should minimize going out for essential precautionary measures like wearing mask, hand sanitization, don't touch surfaces unnecessarily, and all those things. Don't go to crowded places, don't crowd any area, all those things. Plus, the other part is related to heart disease. Now, what is happening is that we've noticed that the patients are often neglecting their existing health conditions because of the fear of COVID. So even when they develop symptoms, they don't go to hospitals because they are worried of getting infected by going to the hospital, which is not a right kind of fear. Uh, Many hospitals have telemedicine facility. So first option is that the patients can seek their doctor's opinion through telemedicine. But if that is not available, then still patients can go to hospital because most of the hospitals are also ensuring that the patients who do not have COVID get necessary protection. Every hospital is taking all precautionary steps. I am at Medanta. We make it absolutely sure that the patients who are not having COVID do not get exposed to this infection at all. So neglecting your existing health condition because of fear of COVID is not a right thing. It can lead to serious consequences, which we have been seeing. So avoid doing that. Keep taking your medications regularly. And the third important point is that cardiac patients often are advised to follow a regular lifestyle, do physical activity, remain physically active. That also should not be compromised. Now, when I say physical activity, it does not mean that you have to go out and do walk. You can do physical activity at home also. So remain physically active, eat healthy, take medications regularly. If there are any symptoms, contact your doctor either through telemedicine or by physical visit, but do not neglect your health condition.
Yes, so it is everyone is aware that one should not go to the hospital, and people are avoiding even when they have serious issues. But then, if one has to undergo a surgery, can it be avoided, and can it be prolonged for some time?
See, that is something which cannot be generalized. Every patient, every disease condition, every surgery has different meaning. So the treating doctor will be the best judge to answer this question, that in which case the surgery can be avoided or postponed, and in which case surgery is necessary. If the procedure, not necessarily surgery, it could be any intervention. If the treatment procedure is essential and cannot be deferred, then we must go ahead with that, taking all the precautions.
Yes, so we have one question. I have read that the coronavirus can cause heart problems such as heart attack or arrhythmias. Is this true? Can it cause?
The Theoretically, it can cause all sorts of cardiac complications, but luckily, what has been seen so far is that coronavirus infection itself does not lead to heart attack that often. It can causes some injury to heart muscle, that is because of infection itself, but it's not a heart attack, true heart attack. Arrhythmias, which means abnormalities of heart rhythm, those problems can occur in 10 to 15% cases, but overall, in an unselected population, cardiac complications are seen in up to 15% patients only. It's only when the patient already have existing disease, then it becomes complicated. Otherwise, in other patients, cardiac complications are not that common in this infection,
So
fortunately.
when we say that so many people have recovered also from COVID-19, the recovery from COVID-19 may leave an impact on a healthy person as well, right?
Yes, see, when the infection is mild, it does not lead to any significant residual damage. Some degree of damage may be there, but it's not significant. Patients who develop severe infection and they recover, they often have residual lung injury that's been seen. So, yes, to answer your question, residual injury occurs, but only in a small proportion of patients. Most patients recover without any long-term complications.
Right. So we have one question. Is there any evidence that the virus infects implanted devices such as pacemakers and what is the question? Yeah, cardioverter,
Defibrillator.
because
Defibrillator.
endocarditis in those with valvular heart diseases.
No, that's not correct. The virus does not cause these complications. It doesn't cause that kind of infection directly. It predominantly affects lungs and heart muscle, not the valves or the implanted devices. So
Right.
that risk is not there.
So we have one query from Madhurani Singh. She asks, I have a heart condition. Am I more risk of getting COVID-19 than somebody who doesn't have a heart condition?
So I need to know what kind of heart condition she is having, because many patients feel that even hypertension is a heart condition. So if she has had heart attack in past or bypass surgery or angioplasty or any other cardiac surgery, then yes, she is at a higher risk of having this infection as compared to the general population.
Yeah, she has gone through angioplasty. That's what she wrote. And
Okay. So then in that case, she is at higher risk of having this infection as compared to others.
okay. Another question comes from Rudransh, and he asked, there are reports that COVID-19 may induce myocarditis or pericarditis. If you have had these previously, are you more vulnerable to contracting it a second time?
See, those who have had myocarditis in past, they remain at high risk of having myocarditis in future also with any infection. And that applies to COVID-19 infection also. In fact, as I was telling to the previous viewer who had asked the question, that COVID-19 infection causes heart muscle injury in the form of myocarditis, not the infection of the valves. So myocarditis is actually the main manifestation of this infection as far as heart is concerned.
Okay. And another question is, how patient with cardiovascular should conditions manage workplace exposure during these times?
Workplace exposure has to be managed in the same manner as everyone else would do. So right now I'm talking to you, so I'm not wearing my face mask. Otherwise, I keep a face mask on all the time whenever I step out of my house. And then uh, we keep sanitizing hands frequently. Whenever I touch anything, any patient file or any other surface, I sanitize my hands. When there's greater risk of exposure, we wear goggles, face sheets also. So depending on your workplace, you'll have to identify what all protective gear you need to wear. For general office workplace, face mask is all that is needed. Everyone should wear face mask. It's not that you only wearing will protect you. The other person wearing face mask is more important for you than your own face mask. And at the same time, frequent hand wash and hand sanitization.
Right, like I saw you yesterday wearing two layers of mask, two masks you were
Yes,
wearing.
yes,
So
yes.
it protects you more.
No, no, actually, there are some N95 masks which have a valve. So when I breathe in, that valve does not allow air to come in from that side. But when I breathe out, my exhaled air goes out of that valve. So if I don't put another layer on that, then I am uh, at a risk of causing infection to others. So that second mask is for protection of others, not for me.
Yeah. So how much true it is, doctor, that too much of usage of masks and sanitizers also can lead to so many complications? Because I've seen
No, actually,
wearing uh, for a longer duration wearing masks, they start feeling breathless and they don't suffocate. So the
that
duration.
see initially those who are not used to of wearing mask, they find it difficult. But if you are using a proper mask regularly, then you become accustomed to that. It does not cause much breathing issue unless there is already some lung disease because of which lung capacity is compromised. Otherwise, wearing mask does not cause a problem. Similarly, sanitization. Uh, it may be true that if you use sanitizer too often, it may cause some corrosion or some skin damage, possibly. But if you're using it only as much as needed, I don't think there's any reason to fear about these issues at all.
Yes, so we have another viewer, Ajay Kumar Mohan. He writes, is only arteries block leads to heart attacks, or there are other reasons also?
See, heart attack can occur because of many reasons, but mostly, by and large, and for all practical purposes, as far as lay people are concerned, it is because of blockages of the heart arteries. There are some other conditions also, but they are mainly for doctors to identify. For general public, one should remember that it is the blockage of the arteries which leads to heart attack.
And he has another question. Do we get any indication that our arteries are blocked by any way?
Yes, see, if there is a significant blockage in one of the major arteries of the heart, significant means 80-90% blockage, then it starts producing symptoms during exertion. So if you exercise or run or do any other heavy physical activity, you will experience chest tightness, which will subside on taking rest. That's called angina, and that is a manifestation of significant blockage. When artery becomes occluded all of a sudden because of clot formation, then it leads to heart attack. But if they have blockages which are not significant, maybe 50%, 60%, or even up to 70% blockage, there may not be any symptoms.
Okay. And we have Ravinder Tikuji asking a question. Namaste, uncle. And he asks, I need to know if there would be any bad effects by taking BP medicines for the last 30 plus years. I started taking them since my job times when I would get tension and resultant BP. I take Amlodac 80, Lozar H, and Ecosprin.
Okay. So to answer your question, I would congratulate you that you've been taking your BP medications regularly. So contrary to your question and apprehension about any problems with regular medication usage for BP control, I would say it is absolutely beneficial to keep your BP controlled if even if it requires use of medications. So please remember that uncontrolled blood pressure is a very big risk factor for future problems. And the most important way by which you can avoid these complications is to keep your BP controlled with the help of medication. There is no reason to fear. The only thing that I may not completely agree with in your treatment is ecosprin. Aspirin is a blood thinner. We generally prescribe it only if there is a blockage already in the arteries or if the person has multiple risk factors because of which we feel that the risk of developing blockages is very high. Otherwise, for a person who just has hypertension, ecosprin is not required. Other medicines are needed, and a cholesterol lowering medicine is also absolutely required here.
Right. So we have one more question. Are cardiac patients who also have diabetes and or hypertension at greater risk? We have talked a bit on.
Correct. Yeah, we have already discussed this. Patients who have heart disease or diabetes are at higher risk of having infection due to coronavirus, and those who have cardiac disease, diabetes, or hypertension, they have higher risk of having more severe infection. So if the abnormalities are occurring together, multiple comorbidities are there, then the risk will obviously be much higher.
Another question is what general precautions we should take overall as we are avoiding outdoor exercises for a healthy heart.
So first of all, we can uh, do outdoor exercises provided we take every precaution to maintain social distancing. So there should be a schedule of people who can exercise at a particular time. If you're living in a society can make those schedules, and then you go out whenever you go out. As I said, wear mask all the time and avoid touching surfaces, especially door handles. When you come out of your building lobby, the doors and the handles of those doors are the very big risk for getting infection because everyone is touching those doors or lift buttons. So avoid touching them, and if you have to touch them, use sanitizer. So these are the two precautions that we can take if we go out. If we are not able to go out for some reason, there are many exercises that can be done inside the house also. You can do physical activity in the form of treadmill, or you can do yoga, meditation, which are again very good forms of physical and mental exercises and relaxation. So some form of physical activity can be done in any setting and must be done.
Okay, so another question is from Ajay Kumar Mohan, who asked about the arteries blockage indication earlier. So he asked if there is a blockage, means his blood pressure could be erratic. Is that true?
No, that is not correct. If blood pressure remains high for a long time, it leads to blockages. But blockages do not lead to high blood pressure. So high blood pressure is a risk factor for blockages, not the vice versa. Another important thing here to remember is that when blood pressure goes up, then unless it is very high, like 200 by 120, 130, or higher range, there's no reason to panic immediately. or 150 by 90, 95 usually does not cause any immediate damage. So there is no reason to immediately jump onto this and take extra medication to lower the blood pressure. But what is important is that if blood pressure remains at this level for long time, it will certainly cause damage. So we must ensure long-term sustained blood pressure control rather than trying to control each increase in blood pressure aggressively.
So another question which has come is, can I take vitamins or other food supplements, and which ones?
Yes, vitamin C improves immunity, and there has been a lot of usage of vitamin C over the last 3 4 months to avoid getting coronavirus infection. Vitamin C is good otherwise also. So vitamin C supplementation is required and will be helpful. Some people say vitamin D is also helpful. We should take vitamin D otherwise also because vitamin D deficiency is very common in our society. And then other vitamin supplements are generally not needed as long as we are eating healthy food. So eat plenty of fruits, vegetables, dry fruits, fair amount of milk products. All these proteins, lentils, all these will give you good amount of good mixture of all the required vitamins. We won't have to take any supplements except maybe for vitamin D, which we don't have in sufficient quantity in food.
And another question is, can I catch COVID-19 from my pet?
Pet.
Yeah.
Difficult question.
Yes.
There are some anecdotal reports, but it usually does not happen.
Okay. And Ravinder Tikuji, who had asked a question earlier, he writes, thanks a lot. Great listening to you. Have a great day ahead today, tomorrow, and always stay blessed. Thank you so much.
Miss-
And we have another question coming up. Should we give CPR to someone who had a heart surgery or has a serious health issue in case of emergency?
Yes, this is a very important question. See, if all of us should know how to deliver basic CPR. In case a patient develops, any person develops cardiac arrest outside, effective CPR is the only thing which can save that life at that point of time. So all of us as a general public should learn how to deliver a basic CPR. By the time more advanced healthcare or medical facility can be made available, this is what we should do.
Yeah, and one more question we have. I know that I should not go to the hospital if I think I'm infected, but when should I seek medical attention if I have a pre-existing heart condition? So we have touched on this there a bit. If you want to speak on this,
Yeah, if you have pre-existing heart condition, then you should follow your regular visit schedule. So let's say you were advised to visit after 3 months, and let's say your visit is due next week. Then you contact your doctor through teleconsult if possible. If you are absolutely fine, having no symptoms, it's quite likely that the doctor will advise you to go to hospital. But if you are having any new symptom or any other new difficulty, then you should go to hospital and meet your doctor. So it will depend on your symptomatic status. If you are feeling absolutely fine, just consult your doctor remotely. Otherwise, you go to hospital.
right. So can I catch COVID-19 more than once? This message I have just now received.
More than once.
Yeah.
Is that the question? This is again a very important question. We all believe that those who have developed infection once, they develop immunity. How long that immunity lasts and how effective that immunity is, nobody knows at this point of time. But whatever evidence we have suggests that at least for few months, we are going to have fair degree of immunity against this infection. So it doesn't mean that if you get infected, recover from the infection, then you become totally complacent and start ignoring all the basic rules of precaution.
Right.
That should not be done. But very likely that you will not have another infection very soon because of this virus.
Certainly. And another question is, Are the kids' BPs towards higher side, let's say around 10 years old? What is kids' range if it is on higher side, and how accurate is the Apple Watch BP monitoring or other apparatus available in market, which is the best way to monitor BP then?
See, for blood pressure in kids, there is no fixed value because with age, normal blood pressure values change in children. During adulthood, we have a definite value, although the guidelines differ. For adults, some guidelines say 130 by 80, some say 140 by 90. But for children, there is no definite cutoff value which is applicable across different age groups. So you will have to consult a doctor to find out what is the normal blood pressure value for your child. But if blood pressure is going up, then it requires immediate attention because hypertension in children occurs due to some secondary causes, which means that unlike adults in whom blood pressure is itself a disease, most of the time, more than 95% cases of hypertension in adults are essential hypertension. In children, it is because of some other disease that they develop hypertension. So it's very important to identify that underlying disease which is leading to hypertension in children. And for that, medical evaluation is required. Regarding your question about BP monitoring, I don't think Apple Watch is a good enough device for BP monitoring. There are some validated instruments available in the market. You can do a Google search and you'll come to know. I wouldn't be taking any names here
Yes.
on this platform, but you can do a Google search to find out which validated devices are available. If you're not able to find one, then you can go to a hospital. Hospitals will have all the necessary gadgets, even for home monitoring and ambulatory BP monitoring, which the patient or child can wear, come home, and the blood pressure will get monitored.
Right. So one more question we have from Mukteshwar Singh. He writes, is the risk of developing severe COVID-19 symptoms similar for all patients with a heart condition, or are there differences?
Yes, there are definitely differences. Every disease is not same. Those who have severe heart disease like advanced stages of heart failure have significant heart muscle damage from previous heart disease. They are at greater risk of developing this infection as compared to those who have relatively mild disease and are presently fit, having no symptoms of heart disease. So they will be at a low risk as compared to those who continue to remain sick because of their heart disease.
Yes. So another question comes is, are people with heart disease more likely to die of COVID-19 than of those who do not have a heart problem?
Yeah, I think this we have repeatedly mentioned that people with pre-existing heart disease are at high risk of having mortality due to COVID-19 as compared to those who do not have heart disease.
Yes. So there is this general confusion which is existing these days. People are going out for walk, be it any age. So is it safe to go out for a walk and run wearing a mask?
I don't think there's any problem as long as we maintain social distancing. Because eventually we will have to go out. It's already been 3 months. We can't always remain confined to our houses. We will have to go out, but we will have to ensure that there's no crowding at all at any point of time, and we keep wearing masks.
No, is it safe? Is it does it have harmful effects on the body if we run using a mask?
No, if you're running with a mask and if you are feeling uncomfortable, then obviously that should not be continued. But as such, wearing mask and doing walk is not harmful.
Right.
A good
So
quality mask.
yes, we have some more viewers who are enjoying the advices provided by you. Sunita Soni writes, thanks a lot for the information, doctor. And Ajay Kumar Mohan also is thanking you for the information. Ravinder Tiku also writes thanks. So there are more viewers who have many queries. So in general, because the time is, we are almost close to half an hour and it's time to pack up. So can I take a broader idea about because some people have joined late the shows, and we have touched upon those topics in the beginning of the show. So before closing the show, some general idea about what basic precaution
Yeah.
one needs to take with the heart
Okay.
at home.
Correct. Before that, I would like to touch upon one specific point also uh, regarding some specific BP medications, which we call them as ACE inhibitors and ARB. There was a news early during this pandemic that people who were taking those medications were at higher risk of having COVID-19 infection. But subsequent research has shown that it is not true. In fact, those medications can reduce the severity of infection. So we need not worry. Whatever BP medication one is taking should continue without any fear. So this was a specific point which I wanted to touch upon.
Definitely.
Now coming back to the general advice, I'll summarize what we have discussed. That patients who have pre-existing cardiac disease, they are at high risk of having coronavirus infection. And those who have heart disease, diabetes, or hypertension, they are at high risk of having more severe infection and dying because of this infection. So all such people should take extra precaution. We all should take full precaution because anyone can get infected and the disease is unpredictable. So anyone can get severe illness also. But these are the patient groups who are particularly vulnerable and take extra precaution. Now, regarding precaution, first is maintain social distancing, maintain sanitization and hand cleaning practices, keep wearing mask whenever you go out, don't crowd any area, and don't be complacent because this is one big problem which many countries are facing, particularly US, where people said that we don't care about this and they started going to bars and all restaurants without worrying about anything. And now look at the condition there. They're having 60,000 cases every day, which is much higher than what they had earlier. So we should not commit that mistake. We need to be, we need to respect this infection and take all precautions. Secondly, specific advice for cardiac patients: continue taking your medications regularly. Seek medical opinion whenever there is any new symptom. Don't ignore it. And lead a healthy life, which should include healthy eating, which is full of fruits, vegetables, dry fruits, uh, maybe eggs for non-vegetarians, milk products, proteins like paneer, lentils, all those things. Avoid smoking. Be physically active in any form that is feasible for you. And if you can practice yoga and meditation, nothing like it.
Certainly. So, how safe it is, doctor, for a person having heart issues with a pacemaker or undergone a surgery to travel these days from one state to the other? Since the flights have opened up and the trains are also operating, is it safe to travel?
Uh, Travel actually remains risky at this point of time. And yes, one has to take all the precaution, extra precaution, in fact. We have already discussed all the precaution like mask and sanitization. But during travel, because many people are accessing the same facilities, there is a high risk of exposure. So I would say that unless it is really necessary, do not undertake any long distance travel. If
Right.
you have to, take all the precautions.
So, thank you so much, doctor, for joining us on the show today. It was a brilliant experience for us, and the viewers also, I think they got satisfactory answers to their queries. Thanks a lot for coming and joining on the show.
Thank you, Shweta. It was a good experience for me also, and I am happy that I could answer many of the viewers' questions and resolve their queries. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you. So that's all for today. And in the evening, we'll be joining you with another show with flautist Paras Nath. आज का शाम आज की शाम हम ये कार्यक्रम आपके लिए 6:30 बजे लेकर आएंगे, ये मैं आपको बता दूं. सो आप 7 बजे की जगह 6:30 बजे लॉग इन करें, 6:30 p.m. So looking forward to have a wonderful interaction with Paras Nath today evening. Thank you so much.